Hi everyone and welcome back. So in this video, this is the third video of HTML Bootcamp. First we are learning HTML, then we will slowly move to styles and JavaScript because we have already gone through the HTML elements, attributes, whatever the global APIs. I mean the HTML, whatever we can do with HTML. So we have gone through all the tags, what all attributes are available, how to build a simple forms, all those things we are going to now explore. So in this video, we are going to create a simple UIs and we'll try to see how the HTML plays its role. We still needs to use some styling so that we can make it little beautiful, right? So first of all, we are going to build a simple user profile card, right? So here I will start with the Scrimba. I mean, these are like here you can explore them. I will just put them somewhere. I mean, I will just share the link. So this is the Bootcamp 4, Bootcamp 3, Bootcamp 2. So all the links I will share. These are like very basic links, but to go through you can also play with the code. Okay. So we are going to build a simple card component, right? This card component, it requires some styling. There is some shadow. There is a full width image, and then there is a margin padding added in the title and the name. So we will try to build something like that. Okay, so what we will do is, first of all, what do you see on the top? We see the title, right? So we are going to add a simple title with a card, and then because it's all HTML we are writing, correct? So after that we have simple card component. We can create a div. So you might ask, like, why I'm doing div, why I'm creating div? Because so that I can group all the other child elements inside it. And here I can create a simple card, also card class, which I can use to style this whole section, right? Div section. And inside div I can have image source. We will add some image, and alt tag is okay profile. This is alt tag, and style we can add if needed. So this is image tag, and inside that we can add, let's say, h4, and then we will try to see how we can improve this thing. And here I can just put my name, Tarun Sharma, and let's say it's p tag, and I'm just saying is developer. And I will reload this page and I see something like this. It's just a plain HTML. There is no styles we have added, right? But now it's time to add some styling on top of this. So what we can say is we will get some image URL first of all. So now I have image URL. I will put this in the source tag, and I got the image URL, and then I have h3 tag and p tag, but it doesn't look like a card component, right? So to have a simple card component, we need to play with some stylings, right? So I have added this class card. So how we can add a style when you are adding a card? So it will be added using dot card, and here you can just add some box shadow. And box shadow, currently I will just add 0.4 pixel, 8 pixel, and RGB. And just like, okay, what is the shadow color? Okay, I will try to explain it. So there is a width we are going to add, because we are not going to cover the whole section. So it's a 40%, right? Now you see some kind of width is coming up, right? So it's like a box shadow. It's just a card component with some shadow. Width is 40%, and same width we will apply onto the image. So image can cover the whole / width. So I will just add a style, or maybe I can just add a class card image. So we'll just add a dot card image. This is again a class. Width I can add, So this width is 100%. Let's see when I reload it. Now what happens is it is taking the whole width of the shadow, right? Whatever the width of this card, it is taking the whole width. That's why it is covering the whole width. And now we also have added some shadow on the card component. Card image looks good. Now what we need to do, I think these labels doesn't look that correct. Maybe we can wrap them inside a div and put a class card body. What do you say? So you can just use some proper naming also for the classes. That's also important. And inside this card body we can put some margin, so that we will add in the CSS. And you can add a margin, let's say 10 pixel. Padding is also 10 pixel. I think that still look good. We can still say margin left. I mean, this is fine. We are good with this. We don't need to change or optimize it a more better way. This is fine. So this is a simple card component by adding a box shadow, putting the image with 100% width. Now if you see the HTML, what did we do here? These are all HTML tags. These are the attribute. Class is attribute. You can add a ID, name, all the attributes. I mean, these attributes are also depends on the tag you are using. Let's say I started using input text field here inside this. Then obviously the attributes which I'm going to add is input type. So you can see all the input attributes available for the input type. So input type is text, or input type is range, let's say. Let's show something like this. So input type range, input type date. So it should show me the date picker, right? Input type number. It will show you the numbers stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Input type date, number, text, password. Then you can enter a password and this text won't be hidden. The text won't be visible, right? So this is how you will add the HTML element, and each and every element has its own different attributes. So you need to go to the documentation to see what all HTML element are there. There are many, and what all attributes are there. Okay. So this is simple card component. Let's see that to do, and let's try to build that UI using HTML CSS. So this is the UI we are planning to build. I can divide this into the sections. This can be the div, which contain input text field and a label and a button, and then this can be a list. And for list in the HTML we can use ULLI, unordered list. Inside a UL we can have all these as a li, and then we need to just play with some stylings to get this done. So let's get started. So what I'm going to do is, okay, we can start from here. I will just create a simple div and I will just call it as a header. I will add some class name to this div. I don't know why the autocomplete doesn't work here. So I'm adding a div class header, and then inside h2, because it's a heading, if you see my to-do list, so this heading, and then after that we have input type text field. Input type text. You can also add a class input text. Let's say this is the class, or you can say to do text, because it's all, and you can just say to do header, right? Input type text, and you can say placeholder input enter value or something. So this is input text field, and then we also need to have a button, right? And then button and this input text field are both in a same line, right? So what we need to do, either you can create a div, but div and input text field both are block elements, so they will always come top of each other. I mean, second will come below to the first one. So what we can do is we can just add a span tag. Span tag provides an inline block. That means if you want to add something in the same line, you can use span tag. For now you can understand it something like this. So here I'm just adding a class and here I'm just adding add button. So this is the class which we need to add, and there is a add here. So there is input type text field, and we are adding a button. So you can see this button is just coming right after this. I mean, it's not a HTML button. I'm just using a span for it. And then once this is done inside after this div, we can just use ULLI to show the list. I can format this. Is there any way to do it? There should be a way to do it, like VS Code. Okay, leave it. So these are like ULLI I have added. Another list, and which we see on the UI also, output also. Now it's all about arranging this in little nicer way, right? So we have just a rough HTML. Now we'll start adding the classes, okay, because it's a it's really colorful UI. So I will go to the CSS, and we will start adding stuff for each and every element we have added. So I will start adding first of all for the to-do header. So that's a class. You can see to-do header, and inside this class I will just set a background color, padding, color, text align and all. So these are some basic CSS property which I can copy. You can see what I did. Just I did some padding, color white, and text align center, so everything will be aligned in the center, which we really want. And this is the heading. And then okay, this is the to-do header, and then we have an input text field. We don't need to customize this h2, so we have input. So we'll start adding. So if this is a tag, you wanted to add a styling, or there is a class also on the input to do text. So either you can use the element, or you can just put dot or the class name, and here you can just say margin 0 pixel. We don't need a border, which is none. Border radius 0. What we are interested is setting of the width of this is 75%. So the rest of the width we can consume in the button. 75% of the allowed width, and just add a padding 10 pixel. And we can also do the float. I mean, there are many ways of doing it. I will just use a float for now. And font size. When you are using this float property, you also need to clear the float. Okay. And there is a add button, right? So there is a button also in this, which is add button. So we'll add some styling. We want is this input text field and add button should come adjacent. They are looking adjacent, but not properly, right? So we will also put a same padding of 10 pixel here. And then width is 20%, because 75% is covered by the text field. Let's reload this. So we got the padding, we got the button. So it is add btn, add button, okay. And here text align center. These are all CSS properties. Font size 16 pixel. And also let's say float. Both are float to the left. And then background, you can just set some different background than what we have. Okay, this looks fine. And the color which you can add is, see, color we can add. Okay, so this is button. Currently everything is float left, so we need to clear the float. So whatever the header we have, because here this is the div class to do header, right? After to do header, we need to clear the floats property. I mean, in today's world, there are 100 different ways to float left and float right. This is like earlier we used to do the float property where we used to clear both whenever you are aligning anything in the float left and right. Okay, now we have ULLI that we need to customize. I mean, we have a list. So I will just add a class name for the UL. And let's say inside li also there. For the UL, we can just set margin 0. Adding also 0 pixel. I think there is we are doing a float property. The clear both is not happening. Let me see. This is ULLI. First I will set a margin padding. Okay. And then we also need to set a background. So all those styles I will just apply to the ULLI. Okay. This is just a background color and ULLI. And I mean, we need to understand a little bit more from the CSS perspective because there is a change in the color in the even and odd. If you mouse over, then there is a different color. When you are on the even and odd, you can see these are like strips with the different colors. So in the CSS world, there are different kind of pseudo classes ULLI. If there is a hover and you are doing a mouse hover, then what should be the background color? So that you can add. So these are like pseudo classes we can add. You can see this hover effect is now added. So when you mouse over, then this is what gets added. Otherwise, we are not doing any JavaScript stuff here. You can also add something like this, UL and LI. These are also pseudo classes. NH child. NH child is if this is odd. So you can have a separate different background color. I mean, so I will just set F9, F9, F9. So you can see now there are strips are being shown. Why? Because I'm using the pseudo class. Inside a UL, there is a li tag, and every odd node inside of li will have this color. So this is how we do the nesting. UL, inside that I have li. I wanted to style it, or if you wanted to style a simple one tag, you can just do it like this. But inside UL li, there is a UL li, and then there is a p tag. I can style something like this. Now when you mouse over to this, what it is saying, UL, there is a li, there is a p, and you can also do a span. So what it is saying, inside UL li p, there is a span tag. When you are doing a /, it means there is an adjacent span tag with p. I mean, these are like very important things. I will try to zoom it. There are many others. I'm not able to recall. It's like span should be just adjacent to the p tag. Similarly, p dot span, is it something like this? Okay, inside a p there is a class span tag. I mean, span tag is there on the p tag itself, and this is like this span tag is a child of a p. Similarly, UL li, you can also play with this. It is going to apply only on the li, which is inside a UL, and there is a class list, right? So it will be applied. So you can mouse over and see and play with this. We will talk about all these concepts when we deal with the stylings. Okay, so whenever you use a float property like float left and right, so I have both the elements as a float left. So if you want to add a next property, then before that you need to clear the float. So I'm doing to do header. After clear the float, whatever you're doing a left and right, it has nothing to do with the next element. Content is empty. When you wanted to apply a style without creating any div, you can just put a content empty display table, and clear both is duplicate. Yeah, so this is a simple layout we have created, and this looks nice, right? And why I'm saying is because now this is centered. This section is centered with the 75-25%. This is a button, and this is inline. Both the tags are inline. This input text field and the button is inline because we are using span tag If you are using a div tag, then there will be a display block. So that's why span tag has a display property inline, and span tag can be used to put a element adjacent to the earlier element, right? Like input text field, and then there is a button. So that's it. This is the second video or third video, you can say, where we are talking about HTML designs by putting some styling, but it's all about HTML and putting the properties like div tag, h1, paragraph tag, input tag, and all those things.